Good afternoon, 5:31 at WIBX. I'm John Swan, along with Randolph Gorman, updating local and regional news. Oneida County Health Commissioner William Campbell says it would be a mistake for the legislators to cut the Environmental Health Division of his department. The Ways and Means Committee proposed cutting that division and appropriating $100,000 for the city of Utica to start a program of its own. Campbell says net savings in cutting environmental health would only be $68,000. He also says cutting that division would mean the end of the entire health department in its present form.
According to William Stasiak, Dr. Stasiak, who's the director of Field Operations Management Group, that without our environmental section, the Park County Health Department, we are a Park County Health Department, it will have to be dissolved if the environmental division is eliminated. The consequences of that, according to Dr. Stasiak, is that every municipality will have to hire a local health officer. The enforcement of state sanitary code will be a village and town responsibility under New York law.
Campbell, who recently took the job of health commissioner, says in meetings with local residents and officials he has found environmental health to be the most serious problem facing areas outside Utica. That division is responsible for such services as inspecting restaurants, private sewage systems, and water quality at public pools.
John, one of the other cuts made in the budget by the Ways and Means Committee was $25,000 earmarked for the new Convention and Tourism Bureau. The organization will have to rely on receipts from the new 2% hotel-motel tax. The chairman of the agency, Chris Testito, tells WIBX how the cuts will affect the group.
Well, obviously, we're going to have to make cuts. I would assume that some of those cuts are going to come in the way of donations that we've made to perhaps Leather Stocking Country or some of the other organizations that we belong to. But I think that for now, we'll have to rely on the advice of our new director to see what areas he or she feels is most important to keep going at full strength and at the same time reduce where possible.
Testito says the cut won't hurt as badly as it might have in future years because the Tourism Bureau still has some money left over from last year. That's because it did not begin operation until the middle of this year. Oneida County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a reported armed robbery which took place at about 10 minutes before 4 this afternoon. The incident happened at the old Zogby's liquor store, now under the name of Marcy Campus Liquors on Route 49 in the town of Marcy. Investigator Gary Clayton of the Sheriff's Department tells WIBX.
At the present time, we have an undetermined amount of cash that was stolen from the store, and we're following up leads at this point.
Clayton says no actual weapon was displayed to the proprietor during the incident, but he does say
He made an effort or showed what appeared to be that he had a weapon of some sort. He, however, didn't display the weapon outright.
Clayton says no one was physically injured in the incident. The owner of the store says the entire contents of the cash register was handed over to the suspect, who was described as a white male of about 5'7", weighing about 160 pounds and wearing a brown leather jacket. He says he left the scene in what's believed to be a blue and white vehicle, the make of which is not certain. The investigator says other people may have been in the vehicle. Clayton says the Sheriff's Department is hopeful of making an arrest before the evening's over.
Utica Mayor Louis Lapola says efforts will be made to remove parking meters from the downtown area as quickly as possible now that the Common Council has approved the plan. Lapola estimates it will cost $1,200 to $1,300 to remove the meters.
We'll store the meters, and if it ever comes back, we're just not going to junk them or sell them. We'll keep them in a nice place, and if it doesn't work out, we'll have to put them back where they belong. But we'll at least try. At least there's an initiative to try something new and different in this city.
Lapola says even if the meters aren't all out by November 15th, free parking will go into effect in downtown Utica, so merchants will benefit during the approaching Christmas shopping season. 3 local groups announced a guide for Mohawk Valley residents watching this coming Sunday's presidential debates today. Those groups include the Utica chapter of Physicians for Social Responsibility, the Peacemaking Committee of the Utica Presbytery, and the Nurses Alliance for the Prevention of Nuclear War. The groups called on those viewing and listening to the debate to watch for the candidates' concern for the escalation of the arms race and whether they will call for a moratorium on nuclear testing. Dr. Lester Eidelhock is a co-coordinator for the local chapter of Physicians for Social Responsibility. WIBX News asked Eidelhock if by issuing the guide, the groups have already made up their mind who they would like to see come out ahead in the debate, namely Walter Mondale.
Not at all. The PSR, the physicians, represent a wide spectrum of political feelings. We all agree that it is important to this country and important to the people and our own families that the nuclear threat be turned back. That has nothing to do with voting Democratic That has nothing to do with voting Republican. We each have our own particular political interests, but the PSR feels that the interest of all the people, including our representatives and most certainly the President, is held by decreasing the nuclear arms threat.
Dr. Lester Eidelhawk of Physicians for Social Responsibility.
Officials.
Doctors from 10 central New York counties are gathered in New Hartford for the Central New York Academy of Medicine's 35th Annual Heart Day. Mark Thompson is the Academy's Assistant Executive Director.
The best way to describe the Academy of Medicine is that it is the teaching arm for organized medicine in the community here. Its main purpose or goal is to provide educational programs for the physicians.
Thompson says specialists from several institutions, including the Harvard Medical School, are discussing the latest trends in diagnosis and treatment of heart disease. WIBX News Time, 5:39. Now, world and national news from ABC.
From ABC News, I'm Bob Schmidt.